Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today on solving variances due to rounding in GP with our wsTOOLS product called InventoryRound. During the webinar today, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, open up the questions pane and go to webinar there and enter them. I will be monitoring the inbox on that, and we'll answer questions as we go. Thank you again for joining today. The InventoryRound solution that the wsTOOLS team has built is really, maybe it's named inappropriately, but what it does is actually solves the rounding problem that GP has when there's not an even amount to be divided amongst all the items that you receive. So it gives you an opportunity, and again, it fixes the problem of making sure that all the items are costed at the same level, and any variance then is posted against to cost of goods sold or to an inventory offset account. And yeah, there are some things in this world that you just have to see to believe, and this is one tool that really in order to understand what it does, I just really need to show it to you. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to GP, and we'll go ahead and dive right into the demo here. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Let me just make a switch over, and we'll get her started here. All right, so in order for me to show it, I'm going to actually show it to you in a company where InventoryRound is not turned on, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing in a company where InventoryRound is installed and turned on. So I've logged into Fabricam. I'm going to go ahead and just go into purchasing to begin with here. We're going to create a purchase order, and then we'll receive that purchase order, then take a look at how GP handled that. So let's go into the purchase order entry here, and we'll just go ahead, and we're going to pick on ABC Supply Company here, plumbing company. All right. Go ahead and enter the item here. We're going to choose some widgets today. And we'll go ahead and we're going to order 1,000 of those. And again, this will show in drastic fashion what can happen out there, especially with low price items that are not that maybe carry out to more than 2 decimal places. But even if it's a larger price product, if it's not divisible evenly, then you're going to get a variance. So, but I'm going to change. I'm going to assume that actually those, instead of 5 cents, that they're actually 5.4 cents a piece. So instead of $50, it's going to, I'm going to look at $54 of the actual cost on that. And I'll go ahead and save that PO. So we're looking at 1,000 widgets at 5 cents each, but actually they're 5.4 cents each. Go ahead and save that. Oh, I always forget that. I always forget to put the site ID in there. My fault. There we go. And we'll go ahead now and save that. All right, so we've saved the purchase order. Let's go ahead and go right back in and let's receive that PO from ABC Plumbing Company. And we'll take a look. It should be that last PO here on the list. Go ahead and select that. And we've got the items, the widgets there, right? And we'll assume that received all 1,000 of them here. But again, as I mentioned, they came in at $54 instead of $50. So we'll go ahead and change that. If you take a look now at the distributions of this, it's going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and debit our inventory account, and we're going to credit our accounts payable account. So everything looks good there. We'll go ahead and post that through. All right, and now we're going to cancel these posting journals. We don't really need to see those for the purpose of this demonstration. All right, so let's now go into what GP did. We're going to go into the inventory now, and we'll go take a look at the receipts of how this was processed. So we'll go ahead and do the widget here. And we're looking at the warehouse. We'll look at this last receipt because that's actually what occurred in what I did there. So we received $999 at 5 cents, but then the last one got costed at $4.05 because it took the $4 difference and it just put it on the last item. Again, this is where those variances can really goof things up. If you have a bunch of things like inventory items in inventory that are being costed this way, you can get quite a variance when you're looking at your general ledger. So and your inventory costing reports. So this is really what the issue that InventoryRound solves is taking these costs and putting the cost evenly across all the items and then applying the difference to either a cost of goods sold or to an inventory offset account. So let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and take a look at how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and log in to another company where InventoryRound is installed, and so we can see how the same thing that I just did works with InventoryRound. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and go to purchasing again. We're going to do the exact same scenario. We're going to create the purchase order, then we're going to receive it, then we're going to take a look at what it did in the inventory, and then we'll actually go into the GL as well. So let's go into the purchase order entry again, and we'll go to ABC Company. All right, we're going to look at the same item here. This is the widget. All right, we're going to do 1,000 again. I'm going to remember this time to put the warehouse in as my location, and we're going to change it again to $54 to reflect that each part was 5.4 cents instead of 5 cents. So we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and save that now, $54. We'll save that again. And now let's go ahead and receive that. It should be the PO that it's on the bottom. Go ahead and take that. We got a few POs today with this company. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, and we're looking at the widgets. And again, we're receiving 1,000 just like we did before. We'll change that price again. All right, so we've received this shipment. We look at distributions again. It's debiting our inventory account, crediting our accounts payable account. Everything looks okay there. Let's go ahead and post this now. And we'll cancel the posting journals as well. We really don't need to see those. All right. So now let's go into inventory and take a look at the receipts now. And see what it does. You'll see now that it came in and it applied all of the 1,000 items came in at 5 cents. And that's really what InventoryRound did, is it went ahead and took care of that difference, and we'll now go into the GL to take a look at how it did that. But this is exactly what we wanted it to do, was instead of $999 at 5 cents and then that last one being at $4.05, they're all now costed at 5 cents each, which is exactly what we wanted to have happen there. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it did behind the scenes. So we'll go to our general ledger now and look at our transactions. I'll back it up one here so we can catch the last one that it did. And you'll see what it did. Let me expand that a little bit. is it brought in the inventory at $54 and our accounts payable at $54, but then it came right back and credited our inventory for the difference, that $4, and put it to the cost of goods sold for $4. So we're carrying it at a cost of $50, and we already took the $4 against the cost of goods sold, so that our 1,000 items at 5 cents match with what we're carrying in the general ledger. Now, you might ask, well, how did it know what accounts to look at? And let's go there. Is that how did it know what to do with this offset? And that is already set up. What it does, first of all, it'll look back at your inventory items. So we'll take a look at what it looks like at the item level. So if I bring up my widget again, if I go to accounts, so the very first thing it's going to look for, it's going to look and see if the accounts are set up under the item. And I set this item up, I just have a few of the accounts, but it's going to look, again, in the current implementation, my demo environment, it's set up to go against cost of goods sold, but we could go against really any account that you want. It could go against an inventory offset account, could go against anything that you wanted to map it out. But right now we're going against that account. So the first thing that InventoryRound checks when it needs to make that GL entry is it checks the item. Now, if the account isn't, if there is an account number set up under the item, then what it's going to do is it's going to go into your setup, going into your setup under Dynamics here, and we're going to go into the posting accounts. And then we're going to look at the inventory posting accounts here, and it's going to go ahead then, and it's going to use either the cost of goods sold, again, depending on how it's implemented or installed, set up for you, or if you wanted to, again, go against an offset account or that type of thing, it would look at that account number as well. So that's where it gets that information to make the journal entries for that offset. All right, so that's the benefit of InventoryRound, taking care of those uneven costs, making sure that it's handled appropriately in the back end, so that your reports are correct and your costing is correct. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for any questions, if we have any. Again, please feel free to ask them in the questions pane. Take a look if I have any at this point. I don't see anything in right now. I'll give folks a minute or two to add additional if you have any questions there. So go ahead and enter them in the questions pane, and I'm monitoring that right now as we speak. I did want to mention, as I'm waiting, is that these tools, including InventoryRound, if you've watched any of our other webinars, this is the last slide we always show, is that this is our contact information, but all of our wsTOOLS are sold through authorized reselling partners. Please, if you're interested, please contact your GP partner record, and they can get a hold of us. Or again, if you have any questions after this session, feel free to reach out to us here at that phone number or through the email. We'll answer your questions. But again, we'll pull your partner record in too to facilitate any additional discussion that we might have. I don't see any other questions coming in at this point. I want to thank you very much for your time today. And again, any questions, feel free to reach out to us, or again, if interested in InventoryRound or any of our other tools, contact your partner of record. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.